Good afternoon, dear students. So, proceeding further, today we are discuss about physiological factors determining the components of physical fitness. There are various physiological factors that determine the components of physical fitness, such as strength, endurance, flexibility, etc. So we have to discuss all these factors individually, and we have to discuss the physiological factor. First, we have to discuss about the physiological factors determining strength. The various physiological factors which determine the strength of an individual are: first, size of the muscles. The strength of the muscle largely depends upon the size of the muscle. It is a well-known fact that bigger and larger muscles can produce more force. The force produced by the same size of muscle in males and females is approximately same. But males are found to be stronger because they have larger and bigger muscle in comparison to females. This we have already discussed in physical differentiation, that the females have, in comparison to male have less strength because of the muscle composition. With the help of different methods of strength training, such as a weight training, the size of the muscle can be increased and thereby strength is improved. So, the strength is determined by the size of the muscles. Next is body weight. It is also a well-known fact that the individual who are heavier are generally stronger than the individual who are lighter. There is a position correlation between body weight and strength among international weightlifters. The heavier weightlifters lift heavy weights, so body weight also determines the strength of an individual. Next is muscle composition. Each muscle consists of basically two types of muscle fiber, that is slow twitch fiber and fast twitch fiber. Fast twitch fibers are also known as white fibers, and slow twitch fibers are also known as red fibers. The fast twitch fibers are capable to contract fast, and therefore they can produce more force. On the contrary, the slow twitch fiber are not capable of contracting faster, although they are capable of contracting for a longer duration. As I have already explained you about the slow twitch and fast twitch fibers, the fast twitch fibers contract fast but for shorter period of time. That's why the person who is more fast twitch fiber are sprinters or short distance runners, and those who are having more slow twitch fibers contract slowly but for longer period of time. So it is good for the long distance runner because it is good for our endurance, and it is, you cannot change the uh, composition or the number of fast twitch or slow twitch fiber by training, it will not change. It is your body which are having the number of slow twitch and fast twitch fiber, and it will not change by training and all. The muscle which have more percentage of fast twitch fiber can produce more strength. The percentage of fast twitch fiber and slow twitch fiber is generally determined and cannot be changed through training. So, it can be said that the percentage of these fibers determines the strength of a person. Next, intensity of the nerve impulses. A muscle is composed of a number of motor units. The total force of the muscle depend on the number of contracting motor units. Whenever a stronger nerve impulse from central nervous system excite more number of motor units, the muscle will contract more strongly, or it can be said that the muscle will produce more force or strength. So, the intensity of the nerve impulse also determines the amount of strength. So, these are the physiological factors which determine strength. First is size of the muscle, second body weight, next muscle composition, and the last one is intensity of the nerve impulses. Next is physiological factor determining speed. Speed is the next component of physical fitness, which is determined by the following physiological factors. First is mobility of the nervous system. Our muscle contract and relax at the maximum possible speed as seen in the sprinting event. This rapid contraction and relaxation of muscles is made possible by rapid excitation and inhibition. The excitation and inhibition of the concerned motor centers. This is called the mobility of the nervous system. The nervous system can maintain this rapid excitation and inhibition only for a few seconds, after which the excitation spreads to the neighboring centers, causing tension in the entire body. This results in decrease in speed. The mobility of the nervous system can be trained, but only to a limited extent. In fact, speed is determined to a great extent by genetic factor. So, in short, we can say that our muscle contraction and relaxation is determining the sprinting event, or you can see clearly in the sprinting event. This rapid contraction and relaxation of the muscle is made possible by the rapid excitation and inhibition of the concerned motor center. So, nervous system mobility is important, but it is a genetic factor. The mobility of the nervous system can be trained, but up to some extent, because it is a genetic factor. So, the next is muscle composition. Muscle with greater percentage of fast twitch fibers contracts with more speed in comparison to muscles with lower percentage of fast twitch fibers. That means the muscle with greater percentage of fast twitch fiber contract more speed. That I already explained you, that the fast twitch fiber contracts fastly, so it will produce force quickly, fast, but for shorter period of time. So speed in comparison to muscle with lower percentage of fast twitch fiber. In fact, the muscle composition is genetically determined and cannot be changed by training. As I have already explained you this point, that it is genetic, so it cannot be trained by the training. Different muscle of the body have different percentage of fast twitch fibers. So different part of the body have different speed performances according to the muscle percentage or muscle fiber, red or white. The composition of red or white muscle depend the speed of the performance. Next, explosive strength. For every quick and explosive movement, explosive strength is indispensable, or you can say improved. For example, a quick punch in boxing cannot be delivered if the boxer lacks explosive strength. If he hits the opponent, but he cannot use his explosive strength, so the punch is waste, the move is waste, and the opponent will get advantage of this. So the boxer will punch with full explosive strength, otherwise it will waste and it will not quickly delivered. Explosive strength further depend on muscle composition, muscle size, and muscle coordination. It also depend on the metabolic process. So the explosive strength is depend upon the muscle composition, muscle size, and coordination of your muscle. It also depend on the metabolic process. Except muscle composition, the remaining factor can be improved through training, which in turn will improve the speed to a limited extent. The relative proportion of fast twitch fiber and slow twitch fiber determines to a large extent the maximum possible speed with which a muscle can contract. To a large extent, the maximum possible speed with which a muscle can contract. This proportion of fiber is generally determined. This implies that top sprinters have more percentage of fast twitch fiber, whereas endurance athlete have more percentage of slow twitch fiber or red fiber. Now flexibility. Flexibility also determines the speed to a certain extent. In fact, good flexibility allows maximum range of movement without much internal resistance. Flexibility also enables complete utilization of explosive strength. If your flexibility is not good, so you cannot complete your proper movement, that movement is not effective or not performance based. And if you're talking about your strength, so your strength will not utilize explosively if you are having less flexibility. So flexibility determines the speed. Now next is biochemical reserves and metabolic power. For example, speed performance, the muscle require more amount of energy at very high rate of consumption. For this purpose, the phosphogen adenosine triphosphate, that means ATP, and creatine phosphate CP stores in the muscle should be enough. If you want to generate, if you want to use, if you want to acquire your full amount of energy at very high rate in speed performance, so your ATP and your CP should be enough in your muscles. ATP is phosphogen adenose triphosphate and CP means creatine phosphate. If ATP and CP stores in is less in contracting muscle, the muscle contractions due to insufficient energy supply become slow after a short time. So if you want your high performance, your high energy level with more amount in speed performance, so your ATP and CP will be high or enough. If you have less, so it will supply energy for short period of time, insufficient energy. The energy supply also depend on certain enzymes which increases the metabolic power. The amount of ATP and CP and rate of energy supply can be enhanced by training. Therefore, it can be said that the biochemical reserve and metabolic power determine the speed. So these all are the factors determining speed. First is mobility of nervous system. Second is muscle composition. Third is explosive strength. Fourth is flexibility. And fifth is biochemical reserve and metabolic power. Next factor is endurance. So we will discuss about the physiological factor determining endurance. Endurance is the another significant component of physical fitness which require determined by the following physiological factors. First is aerobic capacity. To perform an activity continuously, energy is required by the muscle, which can be supplied by the presence of oxygen. Therefore, the ability of the organism to maintain adequate supply of oxygen to the working muscles for energy liberation is important for endurance performance. The aerobic capacity depend upon the following factors. Oxygen intake. What is oxygen intake? It is the amount of oxygen which can be taken by the lungs from atmosphere. Oxygen intake means the amount of oxygen taken by the lungs from atmosphere. If this amount is more than, it is better for achieving higher VO2 max. VO2 max, I have already volume of oxygen. The oxygen intake depend on the vital capacity, which further depends on the lung size, number of active alveoli. Not a limiting factor for endurance performance in a healthy sports person. Next is oxygen transport. The amount of oxygen taken into the blood from lungs has to be transported to the working muscles. The oxygen transport depend on the amount of oxygen which the blood has absorbed from the lungs and the ability of the circulatory system to carry this quickly to the working muscles. The amount of oxygen absorbed into the blood depends on the speed of blood flow through the lungs and on the blood hemoglobin. So, the amount of oxygen absorbed into the blood depend upon the speed of blood flow through the lungs and on the blood hemoglobin. The concentration of blood hemoglobin, which is about 14 to 15% in sports persons, cannot be enhanced by training. The transportation of oxygenated blood depend on the capacity of the heart. This capacity can be improved through training. Consequently, there is an increase in aerobic capacity. Next, oxygen uptake. The amount of oxygen which can be absorbed and consumed by the working muscles from the blood is called oxygen uptake. The oxygen uptake depends on the rate of diffusion, which is further determined by the speed of blood flow, temperature and partial pressure of oxygen in the blood, and of carbon dioxide in the muscle cell. The speed and amount of oxygen consumption also depend on the number, size, and metabolic capacity of the mitochondria, and fortunately these can be improved to a certain extent through training. Next, energy reserves. The aerobic capacity also depend upon the availability of fuel to the muscle from which energy for activity is derived. Therefore, the aerobic capacity depend upon the muscle glycogen and sugar level in the blood. If the muscle glycogen level falls below a certain level, then fatigue occurs. For longer duration activities, the muscle glycogen and liver glycogen reserves are important. These are the aerobic capacity which the aerobic capacity depends. The aerobic capacity depends upon the oxygen intake, oxygen transport, oxygen uptake, and energy reserve. Next factor is lactic acid tolerance. The ability to tolerate higher concentration of lactic acid is a significant factor in determining aerobic capacity. The lactic acid tolerance is important for activities that lasts for about 40 seconds or more. The lactic acid tolerance capacity can be improved through training, so it help in improving endurance performance. Next, movement economy. The economical movement are significant for endurance performance. A runner who can run at a given pace with less energy expenditure can continue with the same speed for longer duration. A good technique in endurance sports can be save energy. So if you put a good technique, if you apply a technique or refined movement, so it will save your energy, and that energy you can use further. For example, in swimming, 20 to 30% of energy can be saved if the movement are correct. For economy in movement, good runners set their center of gravity less higher so that unnecessary movement are reduced. And the last is muscle composition. There are two types of muscle fibers such as slow twitch, fast twitch. The slow twitch muscle fiber are best for the aerobic activities or endurance activities. They produce small level of force from long period of time, and that is why they are better suited for endurance activity. In fact, the elite marathoners have been reported to have greater than 90% slow twitch fiber in their leg muscles. Now, the last is physiological factor determining flexibility. The range of movement possible at a joint or flexibility depend upon a number of factors. There are some of the factors which are not trainable, but some factors are trainable to an extent. The various factors which determine the flexibility are described. First is muscle strength. The muscle should have a minimum level of strength to make the movement possible, especially against gravity or external force. In sprint sports, the leg or knees cannot be lifted to the required height or angle if the related muscle are weak. In fact, weak muscle can become a limiting factor for achieving higher range of movement. So as I have already explained you that your movement is depend upon the range of the range of the joint. If your body is flexible, you are able to sustain a good movement, you are able to apply a good technique with full range. And if you are weak muscles, so you are not able to perform that technique, that move effectively. Muscle strength is highly trainable and therefore can be enhanced flexibility of a person. Next, joint structure. There are various type of joints in human body. Some of the joints instinctively have a great range of motion than others. For example, the ball and socket joint of the shoulder has a greatest range of motion in comparison to the knee joint. Next is age and gender. It is well known fact that flexibility decreases with the advancement of age. However, human body is trainable. Flexibility can be enhanced with the help of training as strength and endurance are enhanced. Gender also determine flexibility. Female tend to be more flexible than males. Next, stretchability of muscles. The stretchability of the muscle is also a factor in limiting the range of movement. For making any movement at a joint, the muscle must contract to execute the movement. If muscles are not regularly stretched, they tend to get shorter and finally restrict. They restrict the range of movement possible at a joint. The stretchability of muscle is trainable to a certain extent. Therefore, it can be said that stretchability of muscles can determine the flexibility to some degree. Next is internal environment. Internal environment of the athlete influence the flexibility. For example, 10 minutes in a warm bath increases body temperature and flexibility, whereas 10 minutes staying outside in 10 degree reduces body temperature and flexibility. Previous injury. Injuries to connective tissue and muscle can lead to thickening or fibrosing on the affected area. Fibrous tissue are less elastic and can lead to limb shortening and ultimately lead to reduced flexibility. So, these are the physiological factor determining flexibility, which are muscle strength, joint structure, age and gender, stretchability of muscle, internal environment, and previous injury. So, these are the physiological factor determining components of physical fitness, and we have discussed four components of physical fitness, that is strength, speed, endurance, and flexibility. Strength, in strength, the size of muscle, body weight, muscle composition, and intensity of the nerve impulse. In speed, mobility of the nervous system, then muscle composition, explosive strength, flexibility, biochemical reserve and metabolic power. And in endurance, aerobic capacity, lactic acid tolerance, movement economy, and muscle composition. And the last one is flexibility. In flexibility, we have discussed muscle strength, joint structure, age and gender, stretchability of muscle, internal environment, and previous injury. Thank you and have a nice day.